please give a huge FanX welcome to Andy Serkis! All right, Andy, we'll have you stand right here. And we're gonna do a crouch. Pull out your flashlights, guys. Pull out your flashlights. You guys ready? On the count of 3, we're gonna go nuts. 1, oh, Andy, we'll have you turn around. Right there, yep. Ready? 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! Let's do it.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. FanX, can you hear me? Yeah? There we go.
Well, hello.
On behalf of everybody in Utah and FanX, Andy Serkis, welcome back to FanX.
Thank you. This is the best. This place, honestly, this is one of the best Comic-Cons ever. I love coming here. I had such a great time last time. And to be back is awesome. Thank you for having me back.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. We love hearing that. But guess what? This is, like we mentioned, this is a return visit to Salt Lake and to FanX. Last time around, it was a little bit different. There were some restrictions that we were respecting in the entertainment industry.
Yep.
I was talking to one of our longtime volunteers, Aubrey, and she was like, I wonder if King Kong will make an appearance today. What do you think about that, Andy? Will King Kong make an appearance? Woo!
Maybe.
Will Caesar make an appearance?
Always, Caesar is with you.
What about Gollum?
No way. Too many people. Precious. No.
I love that, but I know we got a limited amount of time, and I know there's fans with questions. First fan question, please tell us your name and your question.
Yes, so my name is Joseph Hellstone.
Hey, Joseph.
I just wanted to say, Andy Serkis, that from the bottom of my heart, I love you, and I know that what you have done has revolutionized the film industry. And personally, just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So my question is actually not from me, but from my brother who couldn't be here today. And he's a deep thinker, so I'm going to throw you a hard one here. And that is, what are you most proud of when it comes to The Lord of the Rings and the impact for good?
And the impact for good.
On the impact for good.
You know, one of the amazing things about having been part of this extraordinary story, franchise, world, piece of genius writing is that what Tolkien originally stood for, which is a deeper understanding of us all respecting each other, and the whole process of making the films, the whole process of all of the art that went into making those films was about valuing other people, celebrating other people's achievements, and you can see that through the writing, you can see that through Peter Jackson's directing, and the desire to share the stories as they were happening, as they were being made with the fans, because he cares, and we all care so deeply about you guys and the stories that you love. And it's your energy that feeds us and makes us better storytellers. So that is what I think that the legacy really of the films is a kind of a respect for each other, a respect for humanity, and the desire to tell incredible stories through generations.
FanX, what do you think about that? Another fan question.
I just want to say welcome back, and here's my question. Have you ever rode on Skull Island Reign of Kong, the ride in Universal Studios, Florida?
I have not actually been on that ride, but you know, I'm fully intending to one day, because I think there's elements of what we created back in the film that I want to really experience.
Are you a roller coaster person?
A
Do you
roller
love
coaster.
roller coasters?
No, I'm terrible on roller coasters. Don't ever sit behind me on a roller coaster. It would not be a pretty sight.
The more you know. Next question. What is your name and what is your question?
Oh, me? Oh, name is Andrew Larson.
Hey, man.
Name is Andrew Larson.
Nice to meet you, Andrew.
Okay. And my question is, do you love Legos?
Do I love
Legos.
Legos.
Lego?
Legos, like the Lego blocks?
Oh, Lego. Yeah, I love Lego. Lego's awesome. Yeah. I grew up as a kid. I used to make models all the time with Lego. It's the most extraordinary toy, and we passed that down to our kids, and they loved it too. No, I adore it. It's the best.
Andy Serkis, you make everything magical. I can just listen to you and go, yeah, Legos are like that. That's right. I love that. Next question.
Hi. I was just wondering can you compare motion capture from 20 years ago to now? Is the process of what you guys did completely different from now? Or
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. When we started using, it was motion capture, then became performance capture when we started to capture facial expressions. So before, it was film cameras filming the facial expressions and then using the motion capture. But one of the big and the big kind of evolutions was, and this was around the time of when we were making King Kong, of actually putting lots of markers on faces and then almost direct driving the digital mask of the character. So that was a significant change, I would say. When was it? Sort of at least 6 years after that we started shooting on Lord of the Rings. And then the next significant change was being able to shoot motion capture outside of what we call a volume, which was an inside studio space. And that started to happen on the Apes movies. So we were able to now take our suits, put cameras in, in real environments, in trees, up mountains, in the snow. And of course, Avatar at that time was happening, and so James Cameron was pushing it for Pandora, and so it was gradually picking up momentum. And then in the games industry also, the desire to create characters in video games that were emotionally, you could really feel for the characters. That was beginning to grow around, from about 2004, 2005. So it was a big movement where it suddenly went from, just a handful of actors doing what I was doing to being really kind of industry standard and a main part of the production process. Because the other thing, remember, is, a lot of big movies, to actually start to put together the ideas of how you're going to do, big battle sequences or action sequences, we use motion capture for what we call virtual production, where we start on previs, where we can have a number of motion capture actors and then place the cameras anywhere and then really start to build up what the big action sequences are going to look like. So it grew from being this tiny little sort of activity to a really mainstream part of the filming process, and to this day it kind of continues to be more and more useful. So yeah, it's had a huge kind of growth.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
That is incredible. One more before I get to my question real quick. What is going on? What is your question? What is your name?
Oh, my name is Robert, or Rob for short, and welcome, Andy. Thanks for coming back.
Hi, Rob.
Sure, appreciate it. I was just wondering, in between takes of a movie or in your free time, what kinds of music do you like to listen to?
I'm a big jazz fan, huge jazz fan. I play tenor sax, and I listen to Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Nina Simone and many artists, and I love hip hop too, and I love world music. I listen to everything.
You mentioned, real quick, you mentioned hip hop. I believe in possibly 13 going on 30. I don't know if anybody's seen that one. There is a sequence where your character might do a specific type of dance.
Yeah, don't ask me to do that now. I think my feet will stick to the floor, but I could, after a bit of practice, I could probably do it. But yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I had to do the moonwalking as part of the Thriller sequence in
Moonwalking.
Yeah.
Moonwalking during a movie. You go through all these steps, all this just commitment to each one of your characters, including there's one in Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And I remember you talking about that. Real quick, question for the audience. Has anybody ever had to wax their body for work? Anybody? Andy? Anybody?
Well, I did, yeah. For that role, that was not it was a painful experience. The entire, because basically the character I was playing, whose name was Ian Jury. Hands up, who's heard of Ian Jury in this audience? Just give us a big shout for Ian Jury. Anybody? Okay, so about 4 people. Right. So Ian Jury was a proto-punk rocker who suffered from polio, and on the left-hand side of his body he was incredibly well built, but the right-hand side of his body was quite withered. But he had a very... we got to know his family and went into detail about the character. He was quite hairless, so I decided that I ought to train my body up on the left-hand side. They said the left-hand side of his body was like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the right-hand side of his body was had to kind of keep up with it. But I had it. I decided to go the full waxing route. I will never get waxed again in my life. It's the most painful thing anyone has ever done to me. And but anyway, yeah.
So when you come to his table, don't ask him about the waxing, yeah? Next question.
Hi, I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack.
My question was, what was your favorite part about working on King Kong, and what was it like working with Peter Jackson?
Oh, well, there's so many aspects to that, but I'll give you 2 examples of what was great about working on that job. I managed to go to Rwanda to study mountain gorillas, and that was a real honor and an extraordinary thing to do, to watch a family, a troop of 23 gorillas and follow them for quite some time and see how they interacted with each other, and it was so beautiful to watch. And then I studied gorillas in captivity at London Zoo and just watched the difference between how they were, because they reflected human behavior, because they're surrounded by human beings, so their whole rhythm of movement and ways of behavior were much more human-like. And so it was really about sort of taking from those experiences how I was going to create, the character and work on the physicality of the character and his thinking speed, if you like. But then when I was shooting on set, working with Peter, he's just such an extraordinary filmmaker and storyteller, and obviously has been a huge mentor to me throughout my career. And he again is just. He's brilliant at directing the camera to work around actors' performances. He really does find a way of letting the camera dance around a performance, and you really notice a film that he's directed in terms of the underlying drama, the truth of what's happening is all about the way that where he places the camera and the performances that he gets at the same time. So it was wonderful working with great actors, of course, like Naomi Watts, who was just amazing to work with, and having that kind of very direct connection to her, and then people like Jack Black, who was just extraordinary to work with, and the whole cast. And we were together for about a year making that movie, and it was a wonderful time.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for that question. Next one.
All right, Cynthia Deathridge here, but today I'm
No white nemesis.
all right, so my question is, you've been both in front and behind the camera, and when you are a director, what are some of the tools you use to inspire the actors themselves, to bring out the character?
The thing about directing is always trying to create an atmosphere where actors feel fearless. That is what you do. You know, the worst thing, and it goes across any job. You know, when you're doing a job that you love doing, but someone's criticizing you or putting you down, or you don't feel like the environment is a friendly environment, it really stops your flow, doesn't it? It stops you from creatively flowing. So really the job of a director is to, and one of the things when you're talking to actors, if you tell an actor what to do, if you sort of prescribe to them what to do, it can become quite blocking for an actor. And having been on both sides, I understand that. You know, you want to feel like you've discovered it for yourself as an actor, and then you can, you know, you feel like it's your contribution. So the skill of directing is allowing the actor to feel that they're creating that moment, and there's the freedom to make mistakes and the freedom to try different stuff. And I think that's one of the most important things. And you know, there are many instances where directors are more focused on camera and just let actors get on with it. But equally, there are directors who over-prescribe what they want, and actually, it's about finding that balance to really get the best performances, I think. You know, from actors who are very, you know, you have to be so open as an actor and vulnerable and put yourself into very vulnerable situations to be truthful as the character. So it's a very delicate thing to suddenly then come in and kind of go, well, I want you to do that, you know, and so you have to be very gentle and nurturing to not only actors but all of the crew, to make them feel valued and to make them feel appreciated for everything that they do, because it's a big organism. When you think about it, a film set, everyone needs to feel like they're being valued to give their best work.
I love that question. And it makes me think, did you have that same nurturing environment when you rehearsed a character for 9 months just to shoot for 2 days? You want to tell everybody about that one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a film I made very, very long time ago called Topsy Turvy, and it was a Mike Leigh film about Gilbert and Sullivan, the two incredible comedic opera creators in the 19th century. And the way that Mike Leigh works is by allowing you to improvise these characters, and so you work on them for months and months and months, 9 months in this case. But the thing is, if there's no script, and you don't know what the part of your character is going to be in the movie, so you're just reacting to the other actors who are all in the same boat as you. Nobody knows, you know, he creates a scenario, and then you're improvising around that scenario. But some of these improvisations went on for hours, you know, but then eventually you realize, you know, as you're saying, after all this work, and it was a big cast, but some people in it, you know, ended up with bigger parts than others. And I had to learn I was playing the part of a choreographer who choreographed all of these operas, and I learned all the choreography for all of them. I learned to do all these various different types of dance of the period and so on and so forth. And in the end, I actually only ended up shooting for 2 days. I was gutted. I was absolutely devastated. It was like I knew everything about the way that this character would behave and researched the period and so on and so forth. But that's the way that he works. And so it's not, you know, you don't look at a script and kind of go, oh, well, I know what the size of my role is in this picture, you know. So it's a wonderful way of working until you actually realize that you're not going to be in the film very much.
Story of an actor. Next question. What's your name?
My name is Lizzie, and I was wondering if it ever hurt your throat when you would do the Gollum voice.
Did you ever hurt your throat when you were doing the voices for Gollum?
It did hurt, you know, at the beginning. It's a good question. It did sort of hurt when I first started experimenting with it, but as many of you might have heard, you know, I created a special juice for myself, which was called Golly Juice, and that was honey and lemon and ginger, and I used to drink it pints and pints of it as I was doing it. You know, if I was on set all day and working really hard. One of the hardest days I had actually was after we'd made the movies and we were doing what we call additional dialogue recording, ADR. And I remember doing a long session. I was rehearsing a play at the same time, and I came down from Manchester to London to do, and I did an 11-hour session. It was just me re-recording a lot of Gollum's lines, and that was a brutal day. And you know, I remember at the end of it thinking, you know, I'm never going to be able to talk again.
But your cat helped you out with the process, right? Your house cat?
The process of creating the character. Yeah, the cat, it's true. And again, forgive me if you've heard this story, but the whole, one of the inspirations for Gollum's voice was my cat, Diz, coughing up furballs, and he literally threw up in front of me after coughing up this gigantic furball, and it was that whole sound and of his gurgling voice, which kind of went, you know, and that was what I was thinking. This is incredible. This is exactly the sort of voice that I've been thinking about. Thank you, Diz. I owe my entire career to you. You know, and you know that kind of that involuntary sound that cats make then became Gollum. You know, that's how it all came about. It was quite amazing.
Next question. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Adam, and I just wanted to ask some clarification about Return of the King. At the beginning with Deagle and Smeagol, what is their relationship? Are they like cousins, or are they like something else?
They're cousins. They are cousins.
Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely cousins. Yeah.
Good. Let's see if we can get one more. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
I'm Luis Rodriguez, and my question is more about Gollum's self-care routine.
About what?
The self-care routine for Gollum, right?
Yes.
Self-care. Did Gollum ever take care of his...
Sorry. We don't call it that. Yeah. He. Well, you know, he uses a very peculiar mixture of grubs and worms and you know, slimy things that, you know, give a lot of moisture to the face. You know?
Speaking of which,
and fish scales.
I heard that you might have used the voice around the house, especially to your kids back in the day. Like, what would you tell them? Is it when they weren't picking up their clothes? Like, what was happening?
No, it was definitely trying to get them to bed, which was probably a bad idea, actually. But, you know, it was kind of like, you know, the kids were frequently, like any kid, doesn't want to go to bed and everything. And suddenly it'd be like,
it's time for bed, precious. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen.
You know? And then they used to go to bed.
Chores were done. Garbage was taken out.
Yeah.
Floor was mopped. Okay, gotcha. That's the motivation. Excellent. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Liam.
Hi, Liam.
In your opinion, what is your weirdest character?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Boy.
Maybe weird, eccentric, or maybe one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, I played a character in a fairly adult film called Luther, the Fallen Son recently. And that was a pretty dark character, and he had a pretty strange mentality. I won't go into it now because there's a lot of kids around. But he was not a nice man, and he enjoyed some pretty nasty stuff. But I think that was one of the weirdest characters I played, and it was quite strange to go. I remember when I first read the script, I was like, it made me so uncomfortable that I kind of wanted to have a shower and throw it in the bin. You know, I just wanted to get rid of it, and I didn't even want to play that character because he was a little strange. But I mean, Gollum was like a walk in the park compared to this guy. You know.
FanX, you've been amazing. We're running really short on time. We got one last audience question right here.
So I think for a lot of us, the story of Kino Loy really resonated in Andor. I just wanted to hear a little bit from you about why you think that story was so powerful, that character, and what you enjoyed about playing that character.
I mean, thank you for asking that. And I really enjoyed playing that character. And part of it was actually based on my brother-in-law, who was quite a union man. He worked for a printers union, and he is often standing up for the rights of other workers. And my sense of where Keane and what I based him on was this person who sort of had very strong principles once, and then after having been kind of arrested and placed on Narkina 5 as a prisoner, he lost his way and lost his principles about caring for others and service for others rather than just looking after your own back. And so this journey, and what I really loved about the way it was written, and Tony Gilroy's writing throughout the entire series was just incredible, but this character went from being this person who cared for others to someone who didn't care and just wanted to serve his time, get on with it, and he just shut down. And then gradually, through meeting Cassian Andor and being re-inspired to actually think about other people's needs and plights and fears, and that it alighted this desire to really re-engage, which finally, of course, leads to him helping everyone escape. And that for me was such a powerful kind of metaphor for how easy it is to lose your way when you're living under pressure, and the choices, the hard choices of do I save others or do I just look after myself? I just thought there was something really wonderful about that journey, and that was what really spoke to me about the character, and why I think finally when he self-sacrifices, and I don't want to be a spoiler for people who haven't seen it, but that is why I think it resonated for people, that there was this character that you didn't particularly like, who finally you saw the softer side and the kinder side of.
Thank you so much, Andy. Last thing before Andy's got to go. In 2003, 2004, 2012, the Academy Awards said that you were ineligible for Best Supporting Actor because Gollum was computer generated. We here, that's right, we here at FanX think not only that you should have been nominated, you should have won each and every single one of those awards. We're here to send our support, our love to you and every project that you're doing, everybody around you, your family. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Andy Serkis, give it up.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
One more time, everybody. Please give a huge round of applause, everybody, for Andy Serkis.